Hey everyone, welcome to the next session. This time I'm here with Chris. And Chris is a special person because one way or another, he made it that you're here today. Because Chris and I have been working on my LinkedIn content strategy. We've been working on the summit together. So he's the one where I have all my knowledge from when it comes to LinkedIn, when it comes to outreach, when it comes to account-based marketing. So just the fact that you're here shows his talents. And I'm very excited to see his presentation today and learn from him on how to effectively leverage ABM. And as per usual, we are active in the chat, so make sure to pop your questions in the chat. Let us know what your experience level with ABM is like, what you want to know about it, and we'll make sure that us and the rest of the team are writing in the chat and getting to your questions. And with this, Chris, welcome to the Meaningful Marketing Summit that you have so beautifully co-created and co-hosted. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Vera, for having me. Hi, everyone. Let me just share my screen and we will start with the presentation. So give me a second. Okay. Yeah. So Vila, if you can just confirm that you can see my screen.
We can see the screen beautifully.
Perfect. So one more time, thank you so much, Viola, for having me. My name is Chris, and today I'll be telling you about how to leverage LinkedIn for effective account-based marketing. So we have 6 pillars for ABM on LinkedIn. And speaking about LinkedIn, you should firstly think about target. So create your ideal customer profile, your dream 100 list, and then when you create that target, you can go to LinkedIn and start actively engage with your potential customers with your dream 100 or ideal customer profile, right? And then we have 3 next pillars that are connected with the long form of the content that you can create together with your dream 100 list, and those are interviews and podcasts, events and reports and guidebooks. So you can outreach to your ideal customer profile and engage with them, build a relationship, and together with them create those long format of the content. And then the last part of the pillar will be the content distribution. So you already put a lot of effort to build a relationship with your ideal customer profiles, and you created great content with them. So you want to redistribute that content to your LinkedIn profile and still engage and involve your ideal customers. Okay, so to make this presentation even more actionable for your use, I decided to do that with exactly this scale-up example. I choose Apollo, which is a great company out there that is doing data-first sales acceleration. And we'll be speaking about everything based on Apollo example, so you can adjust also later on to your scale-up or startup needs, okay? So firstly, let's discuss target. You need to define your ideal customer profile, or either call it Dream 100 customer list. So here you can see the very simple spreadsheet with all the filters that you can put on your sales navigator on LinkedIn. And as you can see, for Apollo, we decided that it will be United States. There will be companies from 51 above to 1,000, internet industry mainly. And then we want to also focus on the companies that have sales team between 10 and 50, because we want to close more bigger B2B deals. And we want to also see that they are growing in terms of the company growth, company headcount growth. And we want to see also that they are growing in terms of salespeople joining the company. And potentially they could also raise some rounds of investment in the last 12 months. And on the right side, you can also see the buyer personas profiles. So we have people from sales, sales and business development departments, VP, director, and managers. Those are the people that we want to mainly target, and we want to make sure that they are more they have more experience, right? So they will be more time in the company, so freed up to 10 years of the experience in the company and in the role. And when we have everything already defined, then we can go to your sales navigator, and we can put all the filters out there to find your real ideal customer profiles, So you can see on the left that we have companies, accounts results, and on the right we have leads results. When you're a little bit more experienced, you will recognize that whenever you're creating your account-based marketing strategy, you would like to firstly pick up the companies, and inside those companies you create the filters. So for example, this is an example for the Prezi. So this could be one of the ideal customers for Apollo. And within that company, we are filtering all the directors, managers, VP from the business development, marketing, and sales that we could potentially target for our account-based strategy. And this is the best way to do that. And now, when you already decided that Prezi will be your perfect fit for the account-based strategy, there is another great feature currently on Sales Navigator. So we can build your account map. So you can see here within the Prezi company, I filter all the function with the sales, and I choose the based on the tiers, people that I would like to target in my account based marketing strategy. So starting with the tier 1, we have marketing director global 1 and vice president. Then tier 2, we have directors for the specific regions, or a global strategic partner and channel manager. And with the tier 3, we have sales manager, right? And those could be the people that will be the perfect fit for us for our account-based strategy. And last part for this for the target will be to save your ideal customer profile to list. So we can create the list of Dream 100 companies that you would like to target, and also Dream 100 leads, right? So people who are in those companies, and those lists will be very useful later on in the next phases of our strategy. So whenever you would like to engage with the content that you are creating, you'll be able to see on your Sales Navigator all the content that is created by your ideal customer profile. Okay, and the pro tip is also utilize Apollo. So I choose Apollo because of the reason that Apollo is also great alternative for Sales Navigator. So you can also utilize the tool to filter out your ideal customer profiles and check out the companies that you would like to target. So check out Apollo. They are really great. They have also additional feature for the Chrome extension. So whenever you are using your LinkedIn or Sales Navigator, there will be additional information based on your companies that you want to target on the right side, and also leads that you would like to target. So it's very useful to use that tool. And now let's go to the engagement phase. So you already build the target of your ideal customer profile Dream 100 list, and you like to get to know them. So you should go to their company profiles, check out what they're exactly posting. You should go to your leads profiles and check out what they are engaging with, what is the content that they are engaging with, and what content they are putting out on LinkedIn. So you will know exactly what they are interested in. The best way to be on the top of the content is also follow them on the LinkedIn. But also on the other side, you've already saved your list of accounts and leads on Sales Navigator. So you'll be getting the alerts on Sales Navigator on the content that is putting out there by the companies and by the leads that you are following. Okay. So now you need to build a habit. So the best way to do that is to put in your calendar the slot for LinkedIn engagement. It's supposed to be minimum 30 minutes up to 1 hour daily habit of going out to LinkedIn and engage with the content of your accounts and leads that you saved. What you can do, you can comment your point of view and share your insight. You can ask questions to spark the meaningful conversations. You can also leave the engagement, but very appropriate to the post or the person that you are engaging with. You can also tag the author, company, or even someone else from the industry. And additionally, for example, ask a good question. And obviously, you can also share the posts of the ideal customer profiles that you are engaging with. And pro tip here, one more time, you can also engage with your partners. So try to not only build your dream list, dream 100 client list, but also dream partners list. So for example, for Apollo here, as you can see, Apollo is in the lead gen category, same with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, but they have also a lot of other companies that are also in sales, but in different categories. So they could potentially partner with, and they could also engage with their content. So build up their expertise in other areas of sales. Okay, so when we already have a target, we've already started engaging with the content that our ideal customer profile is creating. We can start engaging with our, maybe not engaging, but we can start building relationship with our ideal customer profiles through interviews and podcasts. And how to do that? Firstly, if Apollo doesn't have a podcast, because they don't have right now the podcast, they're supposed to do some research, right? So they can go one more time to Sales Navigator. They can search for B2B sales in keywords in the United States and podcast hosts and check out what are the podcasts out there that are already in the sales industry. They could also do some Google search. So after having the research, they should plan their podcast, right? So they're supposed to answer a couple of questions. There are 8 main information that they're supposed to answer themselves. So for example, why do they want to start a podcast? The most important thing is to build a relationship with their ideal customer profile, but also to be recognized as an expert in the industry and generate leads. They would also pick up the themes and topics based on what their tool is about, right? So mainly the sales. Name of the podcast format, length, publishing schedule, and then they will describe the podcast and put the category, right? So they have everything planned. And the next phase would be inviting the guests and do the outreach. So I always recommend to firstly start with inviting to podcast your current clients. So not directly going to your Dream 100 list, but firstly start with the clients, start with your potential partners and influencers, and then go to your Dream 100 list. So let's say you will spend 1 up to 3 months of creating content, podcast content with your clients and partners, and then you would go to your Dream 100. And here is an example of the message that you can potentially send to them. So you will explain who you are, what are you doing with the podcast. You say that you believe that they are the perfect fit. And there is also some personalization. So you mentioned that you saw that they are already doing some presentation on a conference about the topic that is a perfect fit for that podcast, or they've just released some article or some great post that is also perfect fit for the podcast. So you just mentioned this very personalized part, and you are giving them possibility to schedule a call for recording the podcast. And believe me or not, this will really give you like probably 70-80% of the open rate and 60% of the reply rate, with a success rate of probably 50% of people who will really accept your invitation to be on the podcast. And through that, you will build a relationship, of course. So great examples out there is Doist. Chase Barrington, the head of business development, started a podcast called About Abroad. And the thing here is that this podcast of him is not really branded by Doist. This is his own podcast. But by doing that podcast, he's also building relationships with his potential clients for the Doist company. And another example would be Privy. With Ben Jabawi as a founder, who is the host of the podcast, and he's also inviting a lot of ideal customer profile to his podcast. So it's also a great example that you can check out. Now let's go to the events. So this is another part of the long format content that you can create with your ideal customer profile. And why events are great for LinkedIn? Like LinkedIn currently bets on remote events. They invested in the company called Hopin, which is already valued $5 billion plus. So definitely it's something that they will look up to. And there will be probably even more possibilities of creating even on LinkedIn. So one more time, do the research, right? If Apollo would like to start a new event series, they would definitely should go to Hopin, search a keyword sales. They should go to LinkedIn within LinkedIn event search, and also do the research of sales events. And they on the next phase they're supposed to do the event planning, right? So they should one more time plan the event type. So if it will be the virtual conference, a summit like this one, series of webinars or workshops, then they're supposed to pick a topic, like for example, Sales Talk by Apollo IO, the format. So how often they would like to do those events, for how long, if it's supposed to be live or not, there's supposed to be a Q&A or not. They're supposed to choose the audience. So who is the perfect audience for them to attend that event, and the guest speakers that they would like to invite, right? So have a list of guest speakers to invite for the events. And one more time, same strategy: speakers outreach. Start with your current clients, partners, and then eventually outreach to your Dream 100. invite them to your event, saying also one more time that they are the perfect fit, and invite them to do the presentation. So simply as that, a very similar strategy. Okay, and you have already planned the event. You have the speakers, so now you need to do the event promotion. So how to utilize event for the in LinkedIn for that? Firstly, create the event page for your event on LinkedIn. You're supposed to do that from your company page, as only then you can grab very easily emails and names of your attendees. And you're supposed to plan the content that you'll be shared on the company page and event page. Then you should encourage your employees to also share about the event. So create the content that will be shared for your with your employees. Same, do that with the guest speakers. So create the content that will be personalized for the guest speakers, and they could also share to their network. And the last one will be to engage with your partners or influencers. So you can find the industry experts with a lot of reach, and ask them to be the partners of the conference, and also utilize their reach on LinkedIn. But maybe also you can utilize their reach on the newsletters. Okay, great examples. One more time, NetGuru. So they are doing great account-based marketing. This is example for the retail. As you can see, they've invited like top companies from the retail industry, like H&M, for example, or Echo. And those are the speakers for the conference. But on the other side, they are also inviting a lot of smaller retail companies that will join that conference. So they will build great relationships with the speakers itself that could be the potential clients, but they will also engage with the other smaller clients that they will be joining the conference, because they would like to listen to top companies like H&M or Echo. And another great example will be Remote How since 2018 we have been doing the Remote Future Summit. And they've been also inviting their partners, clients, and potential clients to join the conference, build the relationship with them, plus also attracting a lot of smaller companies that would like to develop the remote or distributed environment and would like to buy their courses. Okay, now let's go to the next part of long format content, which really reports and guidebooks. So with the reports and guidebooks, we can jump directly to the planning. So first, you're supposed to answer yourself what kind of topic it will be for the report that you can do. For Apollo, it could be, for example, the state of sales prospecting in the United States. Then how many questions you would like to answer your audience. So I suggest between 10 and 20 questions. 15 will be the ideal, with 70% closed questions and 30% open questions. Because with open questions, you can also take that information that the people who will be surveyed through that questionnaires will leave them some content, and you're able to use them as a quotes on your report. Then you need to survey the people, right? So firstly, create a survey on Typeform or SurveyMonkey. Those two I would recommend. And you would need to promote that. The best way to promote the survey would be also, one more time, through your clients, through partners, and potential Dream 100 list. You can also engage with them through promoting the survey that they will take a part as a potential partner. After you will get a lot of survey results, you can analyze the data. And the last one will be putting the report. So putting all the inputs into visualized form, and getting the quotes from the Dream 100 list and putting into one PDF document that you can share. So one more time, report outreach, very similar to the previous ones. So I would not spend a lot of time to discuss that. Just do similar thing. You can also have the message that you can send here as an example. The perfect way to do that would be to invite them to record an interview, because then that interview can translate to quotes and, for example, article for the report that you will utilize on creating the PDF file of the report. And the example for the report structure that you can create. So with Apollo, it will be the state of sales prospecting in the United States. So the first section will be about the study. So you will explain why did you create that study, who was involved in that case study. Then you will present the key insights from the survey. You would go to explaining the prospecting tools that are available on the market in 2021. So you will show different other tools to Apollo and for example, compare them to Apollo. Then you could show how, for example, they can people who are reading this report can do the prospecting automation. And here you can get a lot of information from your Dream 100, from the interview, put some article and quotes. And then you will finalize the report with the next steps. So people who will read that report will know exactly what they need to do with the actionable steps after reading that report and how they can implement them. Okay, and one more time, great examples out there. Gimilius, great startup that's done the state of digital collaboration in 2021, attracting a lot of their Dream 100 clients and engaging with them through the report. And one more time, Remote How, they have tons of content created with their partners, clients, and potential clients, and they are using them also as a lead gen and demand gen on their platform. So we can also check it out how they've done that. Okay, and the last part is the content distribution. So you've already put a lot of work. Let's say you've been doing that podcast, organizing events, and creating reports for the last 2 years. You had the goals of 1 podcast per week, 1 event per month, and 1 report per 6 months. So in 2 years, you've been able to create 104 episodes of the podcast, 24 events, and 4 reports. That means in total 132 long form of content. And I can assure you that you could, out of 132 long form of content, create 4 different pieces of content for LinkedIn for posts. So in total, you would get 1,320 short pieces of content. So it will be enough content for 3.5 years. Just putting off 2 years of work, you'll have doubled content for the next 1.5 year almost. So just to give you the types of the content that you can create out of those long formats, that will be, for example, summaries as PDFs. So you can take the podcast and make a summary of that. You can create LinkedIn polls and ask your audience about different opinion on the content that you've been shared on the podcast or the events. You can also cut the podcast or events into short videos and do the tips, tricks, and how-tos. You can put posts on lessons learned from your speakers, but also lessons learned, what you learned really on the events that you've been organizing and through the speakers that you've been inviting. You can do quotes as images or text from all of those content that you already had. You could do announcements of releasing these new podcast events and reports. Behind the scenes are also great ways of showcasing the how you are creating the event, statistics from reports. You can transcribe the podcast or event into LinkedIn article and share that LinkedIn articles. And also a great way to create a content is failures or challenges, both from your speaker's perspective, but also, for example, from your own perspective. Whenever you had some failure doing the event, you can also share that on your LinkedIn. And pro tip, last pro tip for me for today will be, you've put a lot of effort on creating the long format content, and now you are putting out the short content on LinkedIn. Definitely you use Shield Up, because this is the best tool on the market currently that will give you all the statistics and reports on how you are doing well on LinkedIn. So check it out and make it useful for yourself. And that's all from me today. It was, I hope I finished on time. So I will right now give the time to Viola to ask some questions. So thank you so much, guys, for listening to me. If you will have any questions, also just approach me on my LinkedIn.
So thank you, Chris, for the presentation. I really appreciate it. As usual, super dense in information and super actionable. And I already feel my brain is running, setting up new project plans of things that I want to be doing in the future. So thank you for this. I kind of want to go back to the beginning for a second, which is the reason why I like working with you, because you are a big fan of account-based marketing, which means it's very specific, it's very targeted. And to me, that is appealing because obviously in the SEO space, I get a lot of outreach emails on LinkedIn. I get a lot of contact requests, and a lot of them, don't match me very well. And a lot of them are very broadcasted and going to everyone and anyone. But what would
Yes.
you consider the main benefits of account-based marketing? Like, why do you choose that over a super broad approach? Why are you going so targeted?
It's mainly because you can really build strong relationships, right? So I think that conference is also that conference is also about that meaningful marketing. It's also about building relationships first, right? So that's why I would choose this one instead of doing like a broad outreach. I've been in that industry. I've been doing a lot of cold emails, a lot of LinkedIn automation, and they work well like 5-10 years ago. Right now, I feel like it's more about building relationships with people, and in the long term, in the long game, it will also bring you more joy whenever you'll build strong relationships with your client. And yeah, like I would definitely utilize this one instead of just shooting to everyone.
Yeah, I agreed. To me, it also feels better. I think for me, like we're experimenting a lot. And of course, from time to time, I get the email back from a person saying like, hey, this is not really meant for me. And somehow when people write you back about this, they always tend to be quite mean as well. And I'm like, yeah, we do actually manually review all of our prospect lists, but sometimes people fall through the cracks and they're exactly the people who get upset. But for everyone in the webinar right now, I want to read out an email that we got recently, which was very nice. This was related to inviting people to this very summit. And someone wrote, hey there, cold outbound outreach is hard. And I appreciate how much hustle and tenacity it takes to do what you are doing. And so I do think, especially marketers that know how much work it is to do cold outreach, they also appreciate if you do it well. And so I think this is why people like to be invited to the podcasts and studies, because they feel like, okay, there is an outreach here, something is happening, but someone put in the effort and made it good.
Yeah, exactly. And just to imagine if you would really spend 3 months I would just go and comment and like your post for 3 months, you'll really just start to recognize me, right? So yeah, you will just, I will just pop up into your mind whenever I will next send you message or invitation or an email. You will just recognize, okay, I remember this guy from somewhere. He's been like commenting and liking my stuff for last 3 months, right? And probably you would also put great comment, and they will start conversation with you under that comment. So even without being connected with people, you can start building the relationship.
Agreed. Yeah, 2 weeks ago I had a coffee date with a woman that I met on LinkedIn through that. And then we decided, like, we realized we're both in Berlin, we got to take this offline and meet for a coffee. And I don't think that otherwise would have happened. Curious, what are some of the biggest engagement mistakes that you see people are making?
I think they are trying to get into sales too quickly, right? So instead of really focusing on the relationship, they are trying to pitch their services, products. And yeah, we're supposed to firstly, even chit chat, like ask some like question about the content, right? But also maybe later on, ask about something else that is even not relevant so much to the content that we've created. So put some effort just to build this. On one side, expertise. Of course, we want to also be perceived as an expert, but on the other side, let's be human. Let's just chit chat a little bit. So
right. And I'm curious because, as you know, all of us, we're very busy, right? We're wearing many different hats. We have many different responsibilities. So for a lot of us, spending 1 hour per day on LinkedIn seems like a really long time. So I'm curious, where can we get help? Is that prospecting? Is this our assistance? You might have seen on my profile, sometimes you get a comment and it says, hey, Gabby here. That's because my assistant Gabby is responding for me. So I'm curious on where can we get help on this, and where do you recommend that people build a team to really do this efficiently?
Sure. So when you're building your target list, that's something that can be done by someone else, right? If you will give them a very structured target audience, they can create that target audience for you. So that's something that can be easily put. Someone else could be put it out there to create that target. And as this is something that you will be probably changing from time to time, right? So you can create a target for the next 3 months for the account-based strategy, and then you will change it one more time, build another target. So it will be something that will be continually changing. So you can have someone to do that. On the other side, if they will really understand how are you trying to be perceived as an expert, you can also, I believe so, you can also teach the people your voice, and they could also answer some comments or just go out there and engage with your potential targets with your own voice, right? So that's something that you would need to put a lot of effort and time to teach someone your voice and the way you would like to comment under someone else's profiles, because you don't want to also ruin your reputation, right? So that's something that we'll need to really take care of. And then on the other side, all the outreach, like the personalization, whenever you will plan very well the events, podcasts, and reports, right? You can also give those responsibilities to other people and work with them for that success, right? For the success of the event, for the success of the podcast, and they can also do the outreach by you, just to make sure that they will be very personalized. So your role will be mainly, for example, to give feedback and analyze if the personalization is enough for the outreach, for example, right? Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've been working on this for a long time, and I do think this inspired me again to even put more effort in, because I do think, like you said, I really do care about meaningful marketing and something that people actually want to receive. And so I think we will have some good things going in Q4 and working on these strategies even more. Because we're already approaching the end of your session, give people a hint. Should they reach out to you on LinkedIn? Should they reach out to you on your website? Where can they learn more about you, and where can people get in contact with you?
So I think they can learn the most about me on LinkedIn. Obviously, there is the most information about me, but they can also reach out to my email, which were on at the end of the presentation. It's very simple, chris@businessparadise.co. But I'm also responding on LinkedIn, so those two places, definitely.
Yeah, this is definitely true. I think both Chris and me, you can reach on LinkedIn very easily and get our responses. So thank you, Chris, for popping on today. Thank you so much for organizing the summit with me. It was a pleasure to have you. And everyone listening right now, make sure to answer your questions, put your questions in the chat, because we'll be around for a bit more, and Chris will be able to answer them right now. And with that, we will hop into the next session.